And I can't see the chats, so I'm going to have to go on my phone to do this. Hello and good day, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's live English lesson with me, Richie, here on the AM Language YouTube channel. As always, make sure you like and subscribe. And to follow the lesson, you're going to have to follow it in the chat section. And I am going to have to do that as well. But my normal thing doesn't work on the actual laptop, so that's unfortunate. So let me see if I can get on and see who is watching. So yeah, Reading Club Challenge, and it would be with Reading Club Challenge when things don't work properly. Automatically makes things a little bit harder from my end. Automatically makes sense. So I can see that I'm going to do it like this, actually, so I can still look at the camera. Irina F, hello, good afternoon. Welcome to today's lesson. Hope you're doing well. Make sure you like the video, guys. Always important to make sure that you like the video. So, yeah, we're going to look at a little reading exercise. And with this, we're going to try and look at developing some techniques. Now, the technique that I want to try and help you guys develop today is, now I think we've looked at some reading skills before, but there are sub-reading skills in every language. In reading, you have your main skill, which is reading, and you're trying to look for understanding. But then you've got like scan reading and you've got skim reading, for example. Now, scan reading, so I'm going to type this out as I speak. So scan reading is when you're looking for something specific. Okay, that is scan reading. Hello, Francesco. Good afternoon. Boa tarde. Welcome to today's lesson. So scan reading is looking for something specific. So this would be specific language, for example, or a specific context. You then have something called skim reading. And this is what you do when you are reading for gist. Now, gist is important. Gist is the general idea. Okay. Now, how do you go about doing this? Sandra, good afternoon. Guten Tag, because you're from Germany. So how do you go about developing these skills? What's the point? Well, there's obviously different strategies if you're doing a level test or you're doing the IELTS or Cambridge reading. But in general, for your own benefit, how can you go about with your actual reading skills where you can actually develop them? Well, the first thing is this, and this is actually a strategy. So how do you improve your reading in English? It's a strategy. It's a technique. So first, you should always read for gist. Always read for gist. So in this case, you need to use skim reading first, okay? If there are questions that you need to answer, read the questions first and keep the questions there. You need to remember what these questions are. Not because you're going to answer them straight away, but it will help you highlight where you will need to go back, and then you scan read. So you then scan read for specific answers. So scan read for specific language. And answers. So that's the basic technique that you guys would need to do. So, what else do you guys need to know about? Well, it's all to do with the context. Now, context is going to be really important. And to know the context, you need to know something called lexical, what a lexical set is. Now, a lexical set is your main language, or should I say your main words to do with the topic. That's going to be even better. Main words, and this is going to be to do with your subject or your topic, okay? So I'm going to highlight there. Then you're going to have something called lexical chains. Now, a lexical chain are words that are related to the lexical set. This is really hard when you're trying to do this on the phone. Lexical set, okay? So, for example, if the topic of what you're reading is something like climate change, okay? Climate change, and it's to do with climate change in Australia, for example. Climate change is your lexical set. And therefore, any word that is related to climate change would be a lexical chain. Now, a lexical chain of, let's see if you guys can think of what lexical chains you could have. So if the lexical set is climate change, okay, how many lexical chains can you think of? E.g., by the way, e.g., always very good. It's another way of saying, for example, such as, let's go with, such as carbon footprint. That would be one lexical chain in. So if you're talking about climate change, for example, carbon footprint. Now, your carbon footprint, maybe it translates to your language. Carbon footprint is how much carbon you contribute to the atmosphere. So, for example, cows, if you own a cow farm, your carbon footprint will be quite high. If you have a car or if you sell cars, your carbon footprint will be very high. If you fly a lot, well, the more you fly, the higher your carbon footprint will be. So let's see in the live chat what you guys can contribute with lexical chains. So carbon footprint, maybe you're thinking of the ozone layer, maybe you are thinking of the word pollution. All of these would be lexical chains. Now, the reason why is because once you know what the lexical set is and you have an idea what a lexical chain is, this helps scan reading, because then when you're looking at a question, you can quickly know, right, if this is the question, this is the lexical set, these are the lexical chains, I just need to look for the lexical chain. And that way it helps you to focus on what you are actually trying to find, what you're trying to look for. a lot of reading is to do with your approach to it, your strategy. That's the and that's a really important technique. Now, how early can you learn this technique? Well, I would say you can start to learn this technique if you're even elementary. Elementary students can begin to do this. Beginner, maybe not, because you won't have enough basic language. But some elementary students who are getting closer to a pre-intermediate level can. Pre-intermediates definitely can start doing this. And intermediates, we would expect intermediate students to do this as well. Arena F, I think you put C level, but then you took it away. But C levels would be a lexical chain. That's correct. In fact, if you're thinking of C levels, yes, you could use the verb as well, like rising C levels. So if you put rising C levels, that would be a lexical chain. You can also think of the temperature. So the temperature of the sea, Celsius, Fahrenheit. All of these things would be a lexical chain. So yeah, look, sea levels, or I'm going to put over here rising sea levels. That would make sense. You can also go for what else could you go for? Well, I suppose if you're talking about climate change, you can also talk about climate disasters, for example. That would also be a lexical, that could be a lexical set as well, but within that topic, climate disasters, that could also be a lexical chain. So let's have a little look at a reading. I'm going to put a reading very quick. I'm going to put a reading here. And what I'd like you guys to do is decide what the lexical set might be. And that lexical set is what we're really talking about here is the topic. So I'm going to share with you a little reading, and I want you guys to tell me what the topic might be. Okay? And this is because we're going to look at the lexical chain. So I'll share, and then it will be a lot easier. Okay, so I've just shared something really small. It's an opening sentence. It's the opening sentence. So climate change is a serious problem, but what is even a bigger problem, actually, sorry, let me see, can I copy that? No, I'm going to have to remove it because there was a mistake. Let me share that again. The change is... this is really difficult on a mobile phone. Climate change is a serious problem, but what is an even bigger problem is the global political to tackling the issue. Okay, that's much better. So we have this. Climate change is a serious problem. But what is an even bigger problem is the global political attitudes and attempts to tackling the issue. Now, within here, over here, we have lexical chains. You've got lexical chains of climate change, problems, climate change, political attitudes, global political attitudes, and tackling the issue. So what we now need to think about is, what is the subject? What is the topic of this text? And that would then tell us what the lexical set would be. We've got lots of ideas of, we've got a few ideas what the lexical set can be. We've got lots of lexical chains that would be related to it. So my question to you guys who are watching, can you tell me what the topic is? What would the title of this be? And that actually also tells us the context as well. Climate change, for example, is a very broad and wide topic. So we always need to think of how we can now narrow this down. And one way to do this is always thinking about what the title would be. So I've shared just an opening sentence, really, to something you might see in a newspaper. But what is the topic? What are we talking about here? What specific topic are we talking about when it comes to climate change? And Sandra says global political attitudes. Okay, I think that's a good start, but I don't think it's complete, because global political attitudes towards what? So I think we need global political attitudes towards something. So you're very close. You're missing just the end bit of the title there, Sandra. Arena F, maybe you'd like to come in, or Francesca, maybe you would like to come in. As always, if you are watching and participating and you think I am speaking too quickly, please let me know. Just send a message on the chat saying, can you slow down? That's all you need to do. Sandra says about climate change. So global political attitudes about climate change. Okay, that is the subject, but is that a title? See if you can now shorten it. See if you can, in fact, I challenge you guys, can you create a title of no more than 4 to 5 words? Can you think of a title of no more than 4 to 5 words? We should careful with environment. Really close, Francesca. We should be careful with the environment. You're just missing 2 words. Yeah, that is what, that would be the, perhaps, maybe the theme, the idea of the rest of the article, but it's not going to be the title. So, like I said, guys, see if you can create, if you can write a title for this with only 4 to 5 words. Now the element behind this is predicting what you're going to read. And this is another strategy. When you are doing a level test, or you're doing any English exam, you always want to try and be able to predict what you're going to read. It's the same with listening. If you can predict what you're going to read, it will help you focus. So you get a reading, and it's on climate change, for example. After the opening sentence or paragraph, you should already know what you're going to read. You should have an idea of what you're going to read because of the title, but what the actual text is going to talk about, it should say that in the opening sentence or paragraph, which is why we can then begin to predict what we're going to read. And that will help you read in a way that's going to be faster and more accurate. Damage climate is threat for environment. Really close, Francesca, really close. Now, you would learn this at an upper intermediate level, but I'm just going to tell you, if you start your sentence with a verb, you need to have the ing. So damaging, because in this case it looks like damage is going to be the verb over here. So damaging the, let's see, what did you write? Damaging the climate. Okay, so damaging the climate threatens the environment. So that could be your title. See what I've done there? Now this is actually, when you start your sentence with a verb, we have to use the verb in what is called a present participle. It's also known as a gerund, but you don't need to know that at pre-intermediate. What you do need to know is, yes, you can start your sentence with a verb, but if you're going to start your sentence with a verb, it's going to have an ing most of the time. So instead of saying damage climate, you have to say damaging the climate threatens the environment. That's going to be better. You can see here what we've done then with threaten, damaging the climate instead of threat, threatens the environment. Okay, because that's going to be your main verb in between, because damaging the climate becomes your subject. Threatens is the verb, and then the environment is the object of your sentence. But good go, though. Well done, Francesca. That's a good attempt. Okay, guys, let's see here. Okay, so we've had a little look, but these are good ideas. These are good ideas. Now, another reading tip for you. This is quite important when you're reading in your spare time. Summarize. Now, when you are trying to, one of the things about reading is it can be quite difficult to read, understand, and then be able to properly even say or talk about what you've read. But the process is important. Being able to talk about what you've read helps you to remember what you've read. And this is an important thing. It helps you to remember what you've read in English. Now, because it gets you to think in English. So let's say you read an article. After you read the article, you need to be able to talk about what you've read. So even now, if you don't have someone to talk to, record yourself and your thoughts, record what you have read, record what you have thought about after you've read something. This is a drilling process because you get to think in English. So if you have read about, let's say, climate change in the Mediterranean, after you read, just record yourself for 30 seconds summarizing what you've read. What did you read? What do you remember? Now, the reason being is that part of reading can really help you with your memory in English, thinking in English, and it will eventually help you and improve your speaking and your reading. It's amazing to see how one skill makes a huge difference in another skill, which is why I really encourage everybody, read, read, read. The more you read, the better your English will be, without question. Okay, guys, so unfortunately, that's going to bring us to the end of today's lesson. And I wasn't able to do the lesson the way I wanted to do it because I had to do it on the phone, which was unfortunate. A big thank you to Sandra, Francesca, and Arena F. Thank you very much for your participation. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, and if you haven't done already, make sure you subscribe. And please share with friends as well. Now, I won't be giving a lesson tomorrow. I don't plan on giving a lesson tomorrow. I didn't put that in, so I won't be giving a lesson tomorrow. I will be back, however, next week, Monday at 4:30. Okay, 4:30 Monday. So please make sure you join me for that. And yeah, take care, everybody. Thank you so much. And I will see you on Monday at 8:30. Once again, a big thank you to everybody, and enjoy the weekend. Francesca, you're welcome. Could you send link verb patterns? Now, you should be able to see the link of verb patterns on Facebook. You should be able to see it on Facebook. If it's not on Facebook, you can see the link on our on the playlist. So if you go to AM Language YouTube channel and you go to the daily live video playlist, you will see the verb patterns. Thank you, Arena. See you next week. Thank you, Francesca. And thank you, Sandra. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. Take care and bye for now. Roxana says, really, you'll have to tell me what the question is in terms of really. Let's see. You should be able to see it on. I'll tell you what. I'll send a link to our marketing. I'm going to send a thing to our marketing department. If you can't see it on Facebook, you should be able to. Roxana says, I didn't make it to class. Unfortunately, sorry, Roxana. I do apologize if you've only just got here. But thank you very much for joining. What I would say, Roxana, is you can always watch our videos later. And don't forget, I'll be back on Monday at 4:30. Yes. Okay. Sandra says to practice reading news in level. Yeah. That is always a good one, trying to read the news according to the level. Actually, next week, I'll share some sites that I think might be useful. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Take care and bye for now. See you on Monday at 4:30. Bye for now.